Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for another video today. My name is Sarah from You Bloom Yoga and Wellness, and today I'm bringing you a video for achy knees. So this video is, as always, perfect for anyone, but this is especially designed for people who are maybe feeling some discomfort in the knees, some stiffness, achiness. Of course, this is not to treat, diagnose any sort of acute injuries. If you have something going on with the knees, please see a doctor. But if you are approved for yoga and light movement, this is a great video to just bring some mobility and keep the knee and the muscles around it moving well. No props are necessary, but there might be a couple times we will be seated or laying down. So if a blanket for extra support is comfortable for you, you're welcome to use that. So to begin, we're going to come onto our back here, and we'll take a little bend to the knees. So we'll take a bend to the knees, bringing the feet a little wider than hip distance. If it's comfortable for the feet to go as wide as the mat, we'll bring them there. And then encouraging the knees to drop towards one another, dropping towards one another. The hands resting on our low belly if that feels safe. Noticing if the shoulders are scrunching up to the ears or kind of sitting a little just lumpy or uncomfortable in the back body. Take a moment, adjust your upper body, bringing the shoulder blades towards one another under your back. Even repositioning the head so the back of the neck is lengthened and the chin is parallel towards the ceiling. When your body is positioned, we'll close the eyes or soften the gaze and start with the breath. Seeing if we can breathe into the hands and breathe out. When I say breathe into the hands, can we make the belly rise as you breathe in? And the belly softens or contracts as you breathe out. So breathing in, the belly rises and it softens. Continue to focus on your breath, really leaning into the relaxation on the exhales. And as we move through this practice, I encourage you to do your best to keep this deep breath. So often when we are anticipating pain or discomfort, we'll hold the breath or become more shallow in our breathing. And of course, if you do feel acute pain, please ease out of what we're doing. But if it's just that fear, that hesitation, can we pause, take a few deep breaths, encourage our mind that we are safe, we are processing and monitoring everything going on. We're going to do our best to give our body that support throughout this whole practice. All right. So bring the feet back in hip distance and grab up the right leg, hands behind the thigh. Maybe that other leg extends onto the ground. If it feels better, you can bring a blanket or something under the knee so it's not fully straight. Especially if you find having the leg straight out is uncomfortable, I recommend bringing a blanket or pillow underneath the knees just so you have support for this video. So right knee is lifted, hugging towards the chest, hands at the back of the thigh. We'll flex and point the toes. So much discomfort and imbalances can stem from our feet and our ankles. So a lot of times when there are imbalances in the ankles, that will spread up into the knees and the hips. So it's really important that we are giving them some attention. We'll draw circles here, circling out the foot and reversing that direction. And finding stillness on a breath in, maybe pulling the knee up a little higher and let it go. Couple breaths right here. And ease up on your hold of that leg and start to straighten the leg to the sky. point and flex the toes just a couple times here. Then keeping a soft bend in the knee, start to pull the leg in a little closer to your body, feeling a stretch down the back of the leg. So stretching into the hamstring. If your calves are really tight, you might feel it there a bit. Couple more breaths, encouraging the hips and the shoulders to relax to the ground. And then very gently, just start to bend and extend that lifted leg. So this does not need to be a full extension or cramming the leg in as you bend, just a very gentle bend and extend. Continuing to breathe. I like to breathe in as I extend the leg, exhale as I curl. Just finding a little mobility for that knee here, giving it some care. Then mostly extend that leg. It can have a soft bend to it. And with your left hand, slightly guide it across the body. Now we're not looking to fall into this big twist, but instead try and keep that right hip planted into the ground. So you're just slightly pulling that leg over. And this may not even feel like too much of a stretch for some people. The idea is we're giving space for our IT band, which is a connective tissue down that outer part of the hip and thigh, and that can really affect the knee. Now, with that leg across the body, and you can even use a strap if you need here, we'll take the hands and start to push into that IT band, so that outer part of the thigh and hip, noticing any areas of potential discomfort or tenderness. And if you do, I would encourage you to spend a little time foam rolling. And if you don't have a foam roller, a frozen water bottle could work, but I do encourage you to get a foam roller. Even like at Five and Below, one that's literally just $5, that will work. You don't need anything super crazy. You don't need to spend $100 on the most high-tech foam roller. Just get a basic one. It'll do you. So bring that leg back up, curl the knee to the chest again, extend it out long. Breathe for a moment here. Noticing any difference between that right and left side. And then we'll hug the left knee up. Same thing here, hands behind the thighs. And we'll point and flex the foot. And draw some circles with the ankles in one direction and reverse. And hug the leg in for another moment. Breathe here. And relax the hold on that leg and extend out that left leg. So toes towards the sky. Knee can have a soft or even a generous bend here. And we'll point and flex the foot. Pointing and flexing. And draw a couple circles this way and reverse. And find stillness, letting the foot be relaxed, bringing the leg in a little closer until you feel that stretch down the back of the leg. Breathe deep here. On your next exhale, bend the knee, and a breath in, extend the leg. And just like that, bending and extending, and bringing a little mobility, a little motion into that knee. Couple more breaths here. And extend the leg back out, soft bend to the knee, and pull it across the body to the right, again, trying to keep that left hip rooted into the ground. And you might even bring your left hand onto that hip, kind of right around that hip crease, as a mental kind of little reminder here, keep that hip pulling down. And sometimes I'll even hook my thumb right in that hip crease and pull down a little bit. Again, just as that added uh, tactile reminder to keep the hip rooting down. And with your other hand, if you can reach and it feels okay, you might add a little pressure with the fingers, and we're not pushing fingertips down, but rather the kind of flat finger pad where your fingerprints are, the part of your fingers where the fingerprints are. Gently press that down, that IT band, so that outer part of the thigh down to the outer part of the knee, never pushing on the knee itself, but just right around. Couple more breaths here. And we'll lift that leg back up, give it one big extension, and then curl it back in and send it out to the ground. Take a breath in, arms reach overhead. And the exhale, relax hands at your side. Bring the feet in so there's a few inches between your heels and your glutes. And actively push the feet down like you're trying to stamp your foot into your mat. Even doing so, you might feel that pelvis and the lower abs slightly curl and lift up. Then we're pushing the palms and the arms down into the mat as well. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, press it up into a very gentle low bridge. Pause for a full cycle of breath. Take another breath in, and on the exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll it back down to the mat. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Feel the feet pushing down, the muscles of the legs engage. Press the arms and the hands down as well. Take a breath in. Exhale, press it up, keeping a low bridge. Pause for a full cycle of breath. And on your next exhale, lower it back down. So taking that one more time, you know the cues here, engaging the body before you lift up. And when you're at the top, pausing for that breath. So we're building strength around the muscles that connect to that knee joint. Supporting it around the glutes, our hamstrings, our quads. Go ahead and lower vertebrae by vertebrae, taking it down. Keep the knees bent and rock it out left to right. And we'll roll to one side. Use your arms for support as you press your way back up. We'll extend the legs out in front, leaning back on the hands. And then again, point and flex the toes just for a moment here. Then bend the knees up, rock it out one more time. And then return to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. And just settle in for a moment and notice, how does it feel on my knees to be seated? Does it feel better if I'm lifted? Does it feel better if a leg is extended? And then noticing, what do I feel? Is it a pain? Is it a discomfort? Is there a specific spot on my knee I notice? And the intention of this is not to diagnose, it is not to cause fear or panic about what's happening with our body, but rather just connecting to the sensations. So that way, when we take a certain movement, we can say, oh, that wasn't painful. It was just a discomfort. Can I breathe into this? Or inversely, maybe you take a certain movement and you're like, that was pain. So here's how I can adjust that certain movement pattern. Again, pain and discomfort are not necessarily enemies of us, or they're not at all enemies of us. It just means that maybe we need to readjust, rethink how we're doing things. But again, that's not a bad thing. I encourage you to approach any discomfort or pain you may have with curiosity and intrigue rather than with fear or anger at our body. We'll bring our hands together at heart center. Thank you so much for joining me for another practice. I hope that you found this knee mobility video to be beneficial for you. There will be plenty more coming like this, especially more long form content, so we can really dive into things a little bit further. But thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.